Our protagonist asks the cameraman to turn off the camera immediately, making everyone panic. He even threatens to break the recording device. Tusk then brings Min Byung-goo's body and places Cha Hae-in's border. Chairman Baek also asks the young man what he plans to do with his younger brother. He sees that Jin Woo doesn't answer and answers loudly. The protagonist says that there's not much time left and tells him to be quiet. Just like that, the shadow of the S-rank hunter that was restored was successfully summoned. The port warning switches to the Japanese hunters, who are now ordered to return to the island to continue fighting. One of them is still very scared of the monster that took Goto Ryuji's life. They think they haven't petted it yet, so they give this damn order. But the manager says that the Ant King has passed away. He couldn't believe it anymore because even the strong Goto master couldn't eat it. Back to the Korean hunters. He now understood that the protagonist's ability could automatically use the power of the dead. This wasn't just a summoning permission like they thought. In Jin Woo's mind, he heard a voice from the shadow that had just woken up, telling him to use his power. With his power, Min Byung-gu quickly restored all of Cha Hae-in's internal organs. From here, the protagonist also had a new perspective on the personality of an S-rank hunter. Although he didn't give any instructions, he still had people who needed help to heal him. Indeed, Byung-gu was an extremely warm person. Now everyone understood why he asked to turn off the camera. Because if others saw this scene, there would definitely be a lot of controversy. Baek Yoon-ho also talked about it. If Jin Woo continued to fight on the path of a hunter from now on, Byung-gu would be very useful. However, he knew that his younger brother hated going to the battlefield, so he put his hand on his shoulder, hoping that the protagonist would not force Byung-gu to fight again. He told him to put his hand on his shoulder again like he did at the Red Gate. But this time it was completely different. It was not an order but a request. Jin Woo himself thought it was for the best from the beginning. So he went to Min Byung-gu and released the shadow to him. Baek saw this and shed tears while thanking the deceased. On the Japanese side, after seeing that the Korean hunters were still alive, they were extremely angry. On their side, they had lost 7 out of 10 S-rank hunters. The manager on the other side also asked again whether they should continue fighting. If more people died, it would greatly affect the response to the gates that appeared in the country. It would even require a comprehensive balance at a stable state. Hearing this, he ordered everyone to retreat immediately in anger. Outside the sea area around Jeju Island, the ant colony was currently out of control, and the Korean hunters in charge of defense were struggling to resist. At the same time, the S-class hunters also had to run quickly to bring people to safety. Looking at the scene before their eyes, they were extremely worried. When asked about the protagonist, Lim Tae-gyu said that he would stay behind to clean up the ruins and unhatched architectural products. With their current strength here, they would only be a hindrance. Inside, Jin Woo was participating in the Dark Warriors clearing the battlefield. Surprisingly, the unhatched results still gave him a lot of experience. He directly pulled out his long sword to enjoy the remaining joy. A destructive attack was launched, creating an entire group of monsters to annihilate. The protagonist felt that it was a waste to let this weapon gather dust, so he took it out to use. It was worthy of being called the Demon Lord's long sword. Just like that, the young man's level continued to increase, and after reaching level 100, the protagonist was given the profession of the Dark Emperor, and the title was one who overcame adversity. The protagonist walked towards his opponent and felt that even though he was dead, he still emitted a terrifying aura. He was about to summon the spirit when the conflict fell into darkness. Jin Woo didn't feel anything, so he thought something happened at the time of extracting the darkness. As soon as he finished speaking, everything returned to normal. The power of darkness gathered to form a cocoon. From the cocoon, the king of the ants was born again with a pressure of aura. But the protagonist thought that the extraction of darkness had failed. He was about to summon the ants when suddenly a voice called him king. Sung Jin Woo was scared out of his wits because this was the first time he saw a shadow warrior that could communicate. He wondered why this one could speak so well. The king of the ants knelt down and asked to be named. The status screen showed that it was a general. He thought that since it was a general, it could speak, but what Jin Woo cared about was that he had killed it. Asking that even so, the person would still add the command. The king replied with an extremely wise sentence that it was not dead but was reborn with his power. He now felt extremely happy to follow and serve the true king. Hearing these beautiful words, Jin Woo also agreed to give it a name. He called it beer and at the same time summoned the souls of all the surrounding ants. Currently, the hunters protecting the mainland had begun to face the Club Bay ants. They were spreading everywhere, thinking that since this was the last line of defense, if one of them entered the city, it would be enough to cause great damage. They had to join forces to take one down. Currently, Beru estimated that there were about 4,000 individuals running around. Jin Woo asked it if it could handle some of them and found out that it was very easy. Hunter Song Chiyul was directing everyone to attack when a few jade ants came. Fortunately, Beru passed by and chopped them into pieces. Zhou He saw the scene before him. Although he didn't know what it was, he still guessed that it was the work of the protagonist. The king of the ants moved like lightning, leaving only a ray of light behind. Nearby, a group of S-class hunters were struggling to escape, but they fought for a long time without stopping. Just when the ants seemed to be unable to be held back, lightning struck down. Thanks to that, everyone was able to escape safely. And when they looked back, they saw that it was Jin Woo riding on the dragon's back. The light finally returned to Korea, and most of the escaped ants were destroyed. The victory came, making the hunters extremely happy and the damage was minimized. The top hunters returned safely, while Cha Hae-in was still in a coma. But he was no longer as dangerous as before. The fourth Jeju Island coup campaign had also ended. About 2 days later, on the coast of China, the remnants of the ants began to appear. They intended to call the craftsmen but were ruined. It seemed that the Chinese hero wanted to practice his muscles a bit. And at that moment, he emitted an extremely accelerated power. With his 2 swords, Lu Zigang turned all the flying ants into fish food. He was not very satisfied because he wanted to fight the king of ants more. The following days after the settlement, the Hunter Association held an important funeral for the dead. They built a memorial for many participants. Among them, our protagonist, Jin Woo, stepped up to set up Min Byung-ji-yu. Although he was considered to have made great contributions in the attack on Jeju Island, there were still some mistakes that happened to him. It was clear that if he had joined the battle from the beginning, no one would have died. Then, Beck stepped up and spoke to the protagonist proudly. No matter what the world says, he is still the one who ended the disaster. Cha Hae-in recovered and also turned to the male lead but did not dare to say anything. President Gunhee then had to thank the young man for his help. Jin Woo thought that if he had come earlier, Min Byung-ji-yu might not have died. He saw the fact that he had saved so many people. This achievement was too great for a hunter's life. The association would also prepare a reward according to his wishes. In addition, after the above incident, he asked them if they had any plans. The whole world knew about the male lead's terrifying power. From now on, many forces would not take their eyes off him. Someone would definitely come looking for him and the association could not ignore it. So they really wanted to know where and what Jin Woo would use that power for. The young man thought for a moment and then decided to say that he would form his own association. At the same time, the hunters in charge of cleaning up were present at the ant nest. He wanted to make sure that no ants were left alive. Unexpectedly, at this moment, a figure they had never known before appeared. Rakan, the emperor of all beasts. While they were about to kill the people in front of them, the Ice Emperor Silid lulled everyone to sleep. They came here to verify the power of the Dark Emperor who had appeared. The 2 emperors could not believe that person would help humanity. The Ice Emperor did not want to get involved with anyone, so he left. After the 2 emperors left, the figure of Jin Woo's father appeared. As for him, he was stuck in traffic at the moment. Jin Ho also asked his brother about their own guild. Chairman Gunhee accepted the request to form, and when he heard Song Yi immediately asked to join. The protagonist was helpless and hung up. At that moment, the chairman called to ask the young man to help deal with the gate. And it turned out that a B-rank gate had just appeared in front of him. Jin Woo then approached and asked to conquer it alone to be faster, because waiting for another hunter to come would be too time-consuming. After entering, the gate suddenly turned red like last time. Jin Woo also felt the same, so he became serious. He was afraid that his mother would be angry when he came home late. So he had to quickly destroy all the monsters in front of him. The current Dark Army was extremely large, and with Beru, according to Jin Woo's calculations, cleaning up would not take too much effort. Outside, Cha Hae-in was very thoughtful. She confided in Choi Jong in that she realized she was still too immature. She wanted to pursue Jin Woo's shadow, and be able to walk side by side with the person she liked. Hunters are born to hunt. The dungeon is a world where big fish eat small fish. Hunters must always be ready to become prey at any time. Everyone's goal in fighting is different. Some are to protect their families, while others want to prove their strength. Everyone must strive to achieve what they dream of. After completing the Red Gate, Jin Woo walked between the two rows of soldiers and wondered, who will be his next prey?